In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 college football games happening on November 30th, 2024, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start: if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Purdue versus Indiana. The annual showdown for the prestigious Old Oaken Bucket will take place this Saturday between the Purdue Boilermakers and the Indiana Hoosiers. This long-standing rivalry has seen Purdue hold a commanding lead in the all-time series with a record of 77 wins, 42 losses, and 6 ties. The Boilermakers have had the upper hand in recent years, winning the last 3 matchups, including a close 35-31 victory last season in West Lafayette. As both teams square off this weekend, Purdue looks to extend its streak, while Indiana will be eager to reclaim the bucket. The Old Oaken Bucket, a cherished trophy in the Big Ten, has been on the line since 1925. That year, the 2 teams played to a scoreless tie, meaning neither squad walked away with the bucket. Since then, Purdue has maintained a dominant record in the rivalry, winning 77 of the 125 contests. However, despite their historical success, the Boilermakers are currently enduring a 10-game losing streak, with their last victory coming on August 31st against football championship subdivision opponent Indiana State. On top of that, Purdue has struggled against the spread during this rough stretch, with a 2-8 mark in their last 10 games. The Boilermakers did manage to cover the spread in a 24-17 loss to Michigan State last week, but the team's overall performance has been disappointing, making it hard to see them reversing their fortunes against their in-state rivals. On the other hand, Indiana is still very much in the hunt for a spot in the college football playoff, despite suffering a setback in their most recent game. Last weekend, the Hoosiers were soundly beaten 38-15 by Ohio State in Columbus, failing to cover the spread as 10.5-point underdogs. This loss marked Indiana's first defeat in a while, breaking an 8-game stretch in which they covered the spread in every game from early September to early November. Despite this recent stumble, the Hoosiers are still highly motivated as they aim to maintain their position in the playoff race. Purdue, unfortunately, may be in for a tough outing, as Indiana will likely take out its frustrations from the Ohio State game on its biggest rival. Indiana enters the contest as clear favorites and will be determined to make a statement, especially with the looming threat of playoff elimination from teams in other conferences, such as the Southeastern Conference. Indiana currently ranks 11th in the College Football Power Index, a stark contrast to Purdue, which is ranked a lowly 113th. The Boilermakers have struggled both offensively and defensively throughout the season, and it's hard to see them breaking through against a much stronger Hoosier team. Purdue has lost the last 3 matchups in this rivalry, and it's unlikely that Coach Curt Cignetti and his players will take this game lightly. With Indiana's playoff hopes hanging in the balance, the Hoosiers will likely come out with intensity and focus, aiming to rack up style points and improve their postseason positioning. While it's difficult to rule out a major upset, Purdue would need a near-perfect performance, and with Indiana at full strength, that's simply not a realistic expectation. So the Indiana Hoosiers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Defensively, Indiana has one of the most formidable units in the Big Ten, allowing just 17 points per game. While they did give up 38 points to Ohio State in a rare loss, that performance stands as an outlier compared to the rest of their season, where they've consistently stifled opposing offenses. Purdue's offensive struggles are well documented, with the Boilermakers averaging only 13 points per game in conference play, making them one of the least potent offenses in the nation. In fact, Purdue has failed to score more than 14 points against any football Bowl subdivision opponent since Week 4, and their offensive production ranks 127th in total yards per game. Their one-dimensional passing attack has faltered against tougher defenses, including disastrous losses to Ohio State and Penn State. With Indiana's aggressive pass rush and reliable secondary, they are perfectly suited to neutralize Purdue's passing game and render the Boilermakers' offense ineffective. On the offensive side of the ball, Indiana's attack has been efficient, though not necessarily explosive. The Hoosiers' offense is built more around controlling the clock and limiting possessions rather than running up the score. Running back Tyson Lawson has been a key player in the ground game, and Indiana is likely to lean heavily on the rushing attack to wear down Purdue's defense. Quarterback Curtis Rourke, who struggled in the loss to Ohio State, may not be called upon to take unnecessary risks given the size of the Hoosiers' advantage. Instead, Indiana is likely to establish an early lead and then rely on its defense and running game to control the flow of the game. For bettors, the outcome of this game is likely to hinge on Indiana's ability to handle their business while keeping the game within a manageable total. Purdue's offense has been so ineffective that the Hoosiers should be able to limit the Boilermakers' scoring opportunities, and the game could very well end with a relatively low point total. While the under is the preferred pick for the total, Purdue's offensive struggles mean that any last-minute touchdowns or garbage time scores could make the difference. With Indiana's playoff aspirations on the line and the Boilermakers' struggles continuing, this game should be a tough one for Purdue, making under the projected total our full game total pick. Texas versus Texas Agricultural and Mechanical. The fierce rivalry between Texas and Texas Agricultural and Mechanical will be rekindled this Saturday as the two teams face off for the first time since 2011. Texas enters the game with an impressive 10-1 record and holds the number 3 ranking in the nation. They have been on a roll, winning 4 consecutive games after suffering a loss to Georgia earlier in the season. On the other hand, Texas Agricultural and Mechanical, with an 8-3 record, is ranked number 20 in the country but has struggled recently, losing 2 of their last 3 games. The Aggies will be limping into the postseason, needing to make a statement to stay in contention for a top bowl game. Out of all the high-stakes games scheduled for Week 14 of college football, the renewed rivalry between Texas and Texas Agricultural and Mechanical stands out as the most important. Both teams are coming into this matchup with a lot on the line, as the winner will secure a spot in the Southeastern Conference Championship game, where they will face off against Georgia. The victor of that game will be one step closer to earning a coveted spot in the college football playoff. In essence, both Texas and Texas Agricultural and Mechanical control their own playoff destinies. Win this game, win the conference title game, and they'll be in the playoff. However, the stakes of this game go beyond the immediate playoff implications. The rivalry between these two in-state schools has deep roots, with nearly a century of history, until Texas Agricultural and Mechanical left the Big 12 for the Southeastern Conference in 2011, severing the annual tradition without any guarantee that the rivalry would continue. This Saturday's matchup will be the first time in over 13 years that the two teams have met. In their last encounter in 2011, Texas narrowly defeated the Aggies 27-25 in College Station. When it comes to betting on this game, it's truly a toss-up, making the spread a difficult call. However, I'm leaning towards taking the points with the home underdog, Texas Agricultural and Mechanical, under the bright lights of Kyle Field in College Station. The Aggies boast a strong defensive front that has the ability to put pressure on Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers, something he hasn't faced much this season. According to PFF, Ewers has only faced pressure on 25.9% of his dropbacks, during which he has committed 4 turnover-worthy plays and has not delivered any big-time throws. This presents a unique challenge for the Longhorns, who may struggle against the Aggies' defense, making the game more unpredictable than it might seem on paper. While Texas has been the more consistent team throughout the season and is favored to win, they have had moments of underperformance and have failed to cover the spread in 4 of their last 5 games. The Aggies, meanwhile, have a defense that excels at putting pressure on opposing quarterbacks, and their offense features several playmakers, including a dual-threat quarterback who can make plays with both his arm and his legs. Add to this the fact that the game is being played at Kyle Field at night, a notoriously difficult environment for visiting teams, and the potential for an upset becomes very real. This is a dangerous game for the Longhorns, and while Texas is still the favorite, I wouldn't be completely shocked if the Aggies pull off an upset. Given Texas' well-rounded offense and the experience of their veteran quarterback, they should have enough to come out on top in this game, likely winning by a narrow margin. However, Texas Agricultural and Mechanical's defense is solid enough to make life difficult for the Longhorns, and the Aggies playmakers will keep the game close. With these factors in mind, the Texas Agricultural and Mechanical Aggies to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. When it comes to the over-under for this game, the offense is poised to steal the spotlight. The Aggies have an impressive track record of hitting the over in games against Southeastern Conference opponents, with a 6-2 record in such matchups. Texas, with its dynamic offense, is averaging over 35 points per game, and they should be able to score effectively against an Aggies defense that ranks just 80th in passing defense. Given these circumstances, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Washington versus Oregon. This Thanksgiving weekend, there is much to be grateful for, especially the exciting conclusion of the regular college football season. As we dive into today's game analysis, we will focus on the matchup between the Washington Huskies and the Oregon Ducks. Washington enters this game with a record of 6-5, while Oregon comes in undefeated, boasting a perfect 11-0 record. Throughout the course of the Big Ten season, I've had a strong sense of Oregon's strengths and weaknesses, and I was confident in picking against them in a tough spot when they faced Wisconsin on November 16th. That game in Madison was particularly challenging for the Ducks, marking the 8th consecutive week without a bye during conference play. To make matters worse, it was their third trip across multiple time zones in just 6 weeks. The fatigue and injury toll from such a grueling stretch became apparent during their performance at Camp Randall Stadium. Despite playing what could be considered their worst offensive game of the season, Oregon still managed to defeat a determined Wisconsin team, thanks largely to an outstanding defensive performance. The Ducks' defense continues to improve and now ranks among the nation's best. Fast forward to today, and Oregon is still in prime position to win the Big Ten title and secure the top seed in the college football playoff. The Ducks' path is simple: continue winning, as they have already built a strong enough resume that the margin of victory is less critical. However, this week's game against Washington holds a special significance for Oregon's head coach, Dan Lanning, his coaching staff, and the entire team. Lanning has seen very few losses during his tenure at Oregon, but 3 of those losses have come against Washington over the past 2 seasons, including 2 devastating 3-point defeats last year. The second of those losses kept the Ducks out of the college football playoff, making it even more personal for Lanning and his team. This time, however, Oregon finally gets to host Washington at home for the first time in 3 meetings. Given the circumstances, I fully expect the Ducks to be extra motivated to take down a Washington team that has been clearly outmatched in recent road games. The Huskies have dropped their last 3 road games in Big Ten play by an average margin of 67 points. Washington is also dealing with uncertainty at quarterback, as head coach Jedd Fisch has to choose between senior Will Rogers and freshman Demond Williams Jr. This indecision gives Oregon's formidable defense, currently ranked 10th in success rate allowed and 5th in expected points added per pass, ample time to prepare for multiple potential scenarios. Unfortunately for Washington, both of these quarterbacks have struggled on the road this season, much like the rest of the team. On the other side of the ball, Oregon's offense continues to shine as one of the best in the nation. The Ducks are averaging over 7 yards per play in Big Ten action, and they rank in the top 10 in several key offensive categories, including expected points added per rush, expected points added per pass, and success rate. Even though Oregon might be without one of its top targets, wide receiver Tez Johnson, in this game, the Ducks still have a powerful ground game led by Jordan James. Oregon should be able to exploit Washington's weak rush defense, which ranks 99th in rushing success rate allowed and 111th in 3rd and 4th down success rate. While Oregon's offense may have shown some signs of rust in recent weeks, they were sharp and efficient coming out of their first bye week of the season. With Autzen Stadium rocking, I expect the Ducks to bring a focused and dominant performance. If Washington falls behind at any point, their ability to keep up through the air will be severely limited by Oregon's elite secondary, which could lead to turnovers and favorable field position for the Ducks. In the end, Oregon is likely to smother Washington's offense, so the Oregon Ducks to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Oregon's defense has been nothing short of spectacular this season, allowing 20 or more points in only one of their last 9 games, and that was against number 2 Ohio State. The Ducks have completely shut down Big Ten offenses, surrendering fewer than 14 points per game in their conference matchups. Washington, on the other hand, has struggled to put up points on the road, failing to score 20 points in any of their away games this season. In their 4 road games, the Huskies are averaging a mere 14 points per game. While Oregon is certainly capable of putting up enough points to potentially hit the over on their own, they are coming off of their lowest scoring performance of the season. Given their recent offensive struggles, it's likely that they may take some time to find their rhythm in this game as well. As a result, under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.